I did my eyebrows darker. I really like them darker. So, but I'm gonna, I have to wipe it off some to see. As I don't know if my eyebrows will get as dark as how I like them. But anyways, I did darken them. But oh my gosh, when I was doing my hair this morning, to me, it just is, it's crazy when I go. And I think it maybe doesn't, it's not as noticeable with the lighting or the angles or something. But in the bathroom, when I'll start doing my hair, it's always like, oh my gosh. Because this looks so much like gold. It really looks like this tiny little piece of white is left. And this just looks like it's the same color, only lighter in the mirror with that lighting. And so it's just, I don't know. It's, I think I'll be so glad when it's just all the way. Because when it's just all the way back to my hair. And I mean, this is fun doing this part, but I think it will make more of an impact to people. Like, they'll be like, oh, because as long as you can keep seeing some gray, then it's like, oh, is it working really? But I'm telling you, it really is working. And it's so crazy because that video I said yesterday about that I did, and it was I was like answering a question that somebody had asked me. It was like, I didn't see this coming at all. I mean, I saw it coming. I just not in this way. Oh, that's so funny because I got that message so many times that I wouldn't see it. Anyways, I'll talk more about all that stuff when it gets to the other side. But, so that message, it just has gone crazy. And what that tells me is people are so hungry for the truth about their health, about and people are more open. People are more open. But that is why also, if there was no gray at all, because there were still people who would question, like, well, you still have that gray, like, and people like this. People are like, oh, well, you really like it. And it's like, well, I'd rather not have a mineral deficiency. So anyways, it has a lot of conversations going. It kind of can be exhausting. Luckily, it's talking about something that I like, which has had me thinking about that a lot. And thinking about now, I feel like my medical background is useful. Now I feel like I put on mascara too. I don't know if it's smudged up there. I can't see that because sometimes I feel like sometimes I'm one of those people who are just sitting there talking for a long time and they've got like lipstick on their teeth or something. And it's like, oh, well, you just got to blow that stuff off. You can't worry about every little thing. Otherwise, I swear to God, you got to pick and choose what you worry about because you'll go crazy trying to worry about things you have no control over. Like, and, and one thing about even like going public is you really have to just put it in perspective and just realize, that we all do stuff like that. We've all been standing there talking to somebody and a booger's in our nose or something. We've all had uncomfortable, embarrassing experiences. And when we're the kind of people who like to point those out on other people, it's just because we are in some sort of pain ourselves and we're trying to distract. And it's kind of cruel, but it's also is some kind of a confirmation to this person too. And it almost is like it gives opportunity to see reactions too. Because it's really weird, but I can really see how much through this age has all been about learning and growing, especially watching old movies, man. I'm telling you. Fuck. And it's got to have something to do with the perspective that I'm giving. And it's like it has to do with my role or whatever, because not everybody would even be interested in watching them. And it is, it just gives so much perspective over our growth, over how we've evolved, how we were programmed. I mean, it's really so interesting. And it's like, it is so crazy too, because there is so much propaganda. There was so much push on World War II and the Yazis, and there's just a whole shit ton of that. And then there was like a total moral. There was a lot of moral dilemma, and what's really crazy too is how much they talk about and they openly motherfucking talk about this shit, and they talk about and they laugh about it, about the manipulation in media, and it will be like these money mogul people talking and about, laughing because they want to have as many commercials as they can, and they know that they're repetitive, and like the music, the catchy tune, all of it, and how they can trigger it, but how it is pretty soon that just becomes your program. You're running a program, you're being programmed. And so but it's all told in there. And I mean, our history really is in the movies. That's probably is why they start manipulating that and taking stuff away, because movies were made that were representing the times, but there was also a lot of propaganda because they were pushing. But once you get to the point of being able to see through the propaganda, you can still see patterns in the development of our society. And yesterday I was talking to my daughter. Hold on, I have a little bit left. This is my second cup, and I've been up. I gave up, I think, at 8 o'clock last night. What is it? It's 1:05. I'm pretty sure I woke up as I just was like, I think it was like a 4:30 or 5. I don't know. I was like really, really out of it. And my headache didn't ever come back, but all of a sudden I was just like really out of it. But they do this bullshit with the fog. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I gotta go to sleep. And so I laid down and I was going to watch a movie, and I was like out in like a second, and Stella was laying there, and we're like totally Susan. She's been sleeping good, except for when I get up and start doing stuff, she'll get up and come, and I was like, dude, go back to bed. And but so she was snoozing, and I don't know what happened. Probably something woke me up. I don't know. That's what it always seems like. And so I was all of a sudden awake, and I was all of a sudden thinking something about my phone. I was thinking, oh, it was a conversation. It was a conversation that I fell asleep before I had finished. And I was like, oh, shit, I should see what they said. And so I went and got my phone, and then I think that's how I saw it was like 8 o'clock. And then I tried to lay back down I moved. I didn't go back in my bedroom. She keeps having a fit when I go back there. She wouldn't even go in the one room. I was telling her, come in. And she was like, hell no. So she still does that, like laying there whining and looking down there and stuff. So there's still, I don't know. There's harassment energy. There's a lot of shit going on, like around us. I don't even know what else to say. There's a lot of shit going on around us. That's all I know. Hold on, let me drink some of this real quick. Okay. So, also that, I tried this last night. I think I tried it the night before too. But I had gotten that clay stuff. And it's supposed to be, I don't know, I'm always looking for more natural stuff. And it's some sort of clay stuff, it's more old fashioned. And then you get the clay wet, and then you put the color on your lips. And then it's like, well, it's way too like, ooh. And when you do that, so I was like, I'll do it at night and let it rub off. There's this girl on TikTok, and she does this whole like elaborate, she fucking draws freckles on herself with tanning stuff. It does this whole fucking makeup thing with all this tanning stuff. Goes to bed with this heavy duty, crazy looking makeup on. And then wakes up and it just makes everything just like, so she doesn't even have to put on makeup, I guess. I don't know what her whole deal is. I just see her videos sometimes come through. But, and so, because I had done that a few times, because sometimes like when I would do my eyebrows, I'd be like, that's so dark. And so sometimes I get up in the morning and I'd be like, oh, see, I get better after I've slept on it. And so I was doing that. And then the same thing with that clay stuff. I was like, I thought that was funny. This girl does that for her whole, like, she's got a whole regime or regimen or whatever. And but the drawing on freckles, that's so funny how all these people have started drawing on freckles. This is a thing now. And it's like, God, you guys, you just gotta go out in the sun, get out, stop putting all this fucking makeup on. Let your skin have some sun. Like, it will get some freckles. Like, I'm pretty sure most people will get freckles if they go out in the sun. I don't know. But these girls, they put on all this makeup on their face, and then they don't get any sun, and then they want it to look like that that it's all like natural. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. It's like they're all drawing faces on their dolls. And it's like, oh, well, now I want her to look like she's not have makeup on. So, I don't know. This is all like a transition, and it's all, the trends change. And that trend, there's going to be some trends that are just going to fall out. Like, they're just going to fall apart. And a lot of makeup will be one of them. A lot of the people who wear a lot of makeup, I don't think that they know how toxic it is. I mean, some of those probably are having problems trying to get pregnant, and they don't even put two and two together. So, all that stuff, it's like all the people got to put together all the pieces. So, and it's all depends on what is in your reality. And look at how much distraction, even for your awakening and your reality. There's all this other stuff pulling your attention. That's why it's super important to stay present in your travels. Who's coming into your life? And the universe uses everything to communicate. They use everything they can to communicate with you. Once you start realizing that something's communicating with you, you got to start catching on. And it's first, so when people start seeing it, it's like, oh my God, that's so weird. Like they don't even say synchronicity. Well, some people do, but some people just think it's coincidence. It's just so strange. Can you believe how what's the chances of that? It's like, because it's planned. It's all pre-planned. Like it was always going to happen. And there's certain things that are just so like magical that it just like drives it home, the magic of the universe. And so that's what it's kind of what it's all about. And I just really went off in a place in my head, so hold on. It was like I started pulling something of my own thing and my own my own little storyline. But on the TikTok thing, all these people are asking me all these questions, and they'd get a lot more information if they went on here. That's what I got to start telling some of them when they're saying, well, give us your whole regime. Tell us everything you do. It's like, fuck, go listen to me. I tell it every day. I'll tell you all the stuff. But I have been taking biotin, because some of the times all these people want to know all these things I'm taking. And the biotin was because of the radiation that's burning our hair off. And so, but in that, I do have no growth from that. I still am doing the mineral thing and stuff. And I think that it's getting better. So I think it'll probably be the same thing, where all of a sudden this will just seem like it's gone, and this will just seem like it's gone. I don't know if it's as easy to see when you creep along. But the thing is when you document this stuff, it's so crazy when you have a big jump. Like when because I can remember what the modern shaman looked like, and now how he looks. It's like, whoa, that is a bit. So I think documenting it, even if it's your own personal one, just take pictures each week or something as you are actively trying to. It's like being more proactive in your lifestyle and health choices. It's more about what you consume and what you take in. And, really considering its benefit, does it benefit you? Most people, it is just, it's like we've just been in like a sick society where it's like everybody's trying to heal their wounds through food and phoniness. Like, basically, food and phoniness. Let's all just be a bunch of fake people, and we'll pretend like we like you to your face, but then we're gonna talk a little shit about you behind your back. Like, we've all gone through that stuff, you know. And one thing too is like how toxic that can be, because there's a lot more to that than just, you know, what you break down to your own experience. And I'll tell you, this whole Tessa Risa thing, Tisa Risa or whatever, and it's gone really big. Like, I don't know, it's only been like a week and a half and she's already been on the news and stuff. But, and I don't know, I think they're going to make some mini series. I don't know what all is going on, but she's got a lot going on, and she's going to Paris and London now. And, but it seems so strange because now it seems like it's like morphing into more. And so, you know, she had done this long series, and, you know, it's probably kind of like purging out. I don't think that she was thinking, oh, for sure, you know, I'm going to become super famous over this and create a whole bandwagon. And so she, I did this whole series, and it caught on because it's like these, it's like the energy, it's like the universe. I can see it, and I don't know how to explain it. It's like fishermen knowing when to put down a fishing net. There's timing, there's perfect timing on everything, and everything has this way. It's a cog in the wheel. Oh yeah, in the conversation with my daughter, because she was talking about this really excellent counseling session she had, and she's been doing this EMDR, which she says is fascinating. She said it's crazy. It sounds like a hypnosis, deep meditation kind of therapy, but I don't know. I've never done it. But so she, but somehow it gets you into a deep place in your mind because you can jump around. She said it's trippy, and you'll see things from different perspectives and stuff. She said it's wild. And so she had this really good session, and she was talking about, she was talking about that. So we were having we always have deep talks like that. But we were talking about my one granddaughter, so my oldest granddaughter. And I think she is going to be 21 in a couple of months. And so that's my oldest granddaughter. And she's real adorable. Like, all my grandkids are really cute. And she's real adorable, beautiful red hair, and beautiful smile, beautiful face. She's just adorable. But she has got boundaries. And we were talking about, it's so cool to see. And, you know, and, you know, say for instance is, you know, for a young girl, because we've all been there, you know, you're going out with a guy and he's, gets drunk all the time or something, and he said he's going to quit drinking. He's not going to do that anymore. He's not going to act that way anymore. And then, he starts back, and you give him another chance. She doesn't. She's like, nope, bye. She just, if somebody's not good for her, she knows when to walk away. It's like, fuck, that's impressive. It's super impressive, especially for a young person, because you have a sense of desperation and loneliness and looking for, you know, something or someone to give you stability or give you purpose, to give you identity. I think so many people in this life, we've been searching for identity, and we didn't see, I don't think anybody sees it. The people who haven't really caught on yet, I don't think anybody sees it coming the way it's going to come in, you know. But it's really good. As I'm telling you, I got to the other side of it. And so it's really good, but it's hard to go through. But the, hold on, I gotta get a drink. Oh yeah, and I was right. My hair was just like this whole thing saturated on this front part. So I had to put the powder stuff, because I don't want to wash it again right the next day. I'd rather wash it like every 4 days. I got to figure out another shampoo. I got to figure out something. There's got to be this perfect thing that my hair is just like happy. But then I don't know if it's the environment. I don't know. There's something funky with our water still. I don't give a shit what the fuck they say. And I say you don't have to boil it anymore. Probably because that's when we do need to boil it. Lying motherfuckers. They're a bunch of fucking gangsters. And all these people who work for them. Either the people are just retarded and stupid or something. or they're just blind. I don't know. Like at this point, I'm really having a hard time with doctors. Like, how in the fucking hell can you not recognize the environment is killing people? Like, are you motherfucking kidding me? And if a brain injured nurse, an RN, I didn't even have my bachelor's, a fucking RN with a brain injury could figure this shit out. Well, I mean, I have guidance. Like, I do have that. But everybody's got it. You just got to connect to it. And that's what I look around and I see, like, who the fuck is connected out there? Like, come on, people. Like, this is crazy. But, you know, I just look at it so differently now. Like, these people I can't even believe people trust these people with their health. Like, this is asinine. Like, these people are oblivious. Something's wrong with them. They can't see past their greed or ego or something. I don't know. I have this play over and over in my head. That lady telling me that that's fake science. The chemicals affecting us from our environment. That's fake science. Don't listen to that nonsense. And I'm here to talk to you about my okay. Okay, so it's nonsense. It's madness. So when I was talking to my daughter, and we were talking about that, and I was saying about, and I talked about this before, but how I could just see it so clearly again. I can see our lessons, because we were saying, like there was a whole conversation, so it's kind of chopped up, but it all went in with this whole thing, and how the generations we learn from each other. And so, you know, like it's hard to explain, but I can see it. And it's like it's meant to be that way. We're supposed to connect through our lessons and not be so judgmental towards each other. We're supposed to see the gradual version of change that we create in our learning and be a lot more kinder and connected. And it isn't just like I'm talking about the women in a family, but it isn't just that. It is all things. It's all the generations. And that is what they create so much division and stuff. So it causes confliction for us to be able to create the connection, to understand the purpose, and to really get the full effect, the full response for what we're going through. It's like when they say we're only got 12% on our DNA or whatever, we're only writing this fucking thing in the small percent. That's what it is. Everybody's not effective in their lives. They're not connected. They're not connected to who they are and what they are. So they're not being effective. You're not getting all you can. And that is this is like an abrupt plugging in. That is why it is going to be like the lights coming on, but that is why it's like a gradual awakening. Why it's slow. Because it's so profound. It's so important. It's so necessary. It's not something that can or should be rushed. It is it's a formula created by this quantum computer, apparently. So anyways, it was figured out how it was supposed to go down. But you know, I can see that it makes sense. Because if everybody was just going about their business and all of a sudden the lights came on, oh my God, there had to be this gradual awakening. There had to be people who got all, freaked out about the things they saw and just would go crazy, like Paul Revere, everyone. Look. And they get so stuck, but we need them. They're gonna, they'll all go through different things. The biggest thing is being gentle with yourself, no matter what it is. It's just going to be such a big flipping over of how you look at yourself and the things you're doing. And it's just wild when you see people just dig in so deep and so hard right now on some of the stuff. It's like, whoa, your lessons must be pretty damn big. I don't know your soul story, but it's an interesting It's interesting to observe this situation. Like, I don't, it's just, it's so weird because, like, I don't know why girls can't see. I don't know that it's so much a problem with guys, but for girls, it's such a problem in their self-respect. I mean, it's like it's been programmed out of them. Yeah, even professional, adult, beautiful women don't have any self-respect. I mean, my 21-year-old granddaughter has better at pushing, like being able to have boundaries. And it's just fascinating when you go through our our life history, like our chain of where we came from, And to me, I can see that we were all actively making changes. Everybody was actively making changes. Like, no matter if their change didn't change everything, there's no way you could change everything. But everything you do changes everything, because nothing goes back to the same. So everything you do has an impact. But you can't think that it's going to make, it's not the finished product. It's not the end of the story. And it has so much to do with which direction you push it. So the direction that you push the energy. And that is what is so important with the people who, I don't know, guys, there's so much that gets pushed into resentment, anger, bitterness, division, good guy, bad guy. Oh, that is something that on this Risa Tisa thing too, is because that has brought so much of that up. Like, at one point it was like so much support of her. Then it was like, then he gets exposed. Then it's good guy, bad guy. Then it's like this whole, and it is, I haven't seen I've seen a couple of lighter skinned people, but it's like super big in this certain community. It's like really big for some reason. But it's kind of like a story that I've experienced before. Now, I don't know to the same degree, but you know who you are. There was a movie made where there was people who knew, and they were like, oh my God, and Connie Britton was in the movie, and it was one of those true stories. And it had the story, and everybody couldn't even believe the parallels between one of my husbands and this guy in this movie. So I think we've had, and that was a movie for a while ago. I was like, maybe nobody saw that. Like, this is like a new story to them about, but that people lie to this depth. And I mean, this guy made up a lot of shit. And so anyways, it became good guy, bad guy. But it's gotten even more, like, it's gotten like, now he's coming out. Now he's trying to go to Netflix. He's like all this stuff. But he's coming out doing all these videos. He's trying to get like, and then you have all these people saying, well, he's trying to jump on. He's trying to cash in, because she's got a huge following now. Huge. And so if he's trying to cash in on her stuff or whatever. But you have all these people who are looking at him to his things, and he's got some sort of sores on his face. And so then they're all talking about the sores. So then they start going in and looking through all this other stuff. Then these other girls, other exes of his, start popping up, and they're starting their series. So you got more series coming. Then there's more allegations about that there's HIV, that's what he has. And he's giving it to her. He's giving it to them all. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And there's people who do their videos talking about it, and they're all like, I'm out. This is getting way too dark. It's getting way too intense. Like, I'm out. I can't deal with it anymore. So I don't even know, because I only see like these little things, but where it seemed like this energy was coming in and all these good things were happening for this girl. And it's just like, it's created this storm of events. And so I don't know, but it brings up, the thing is, for each person is for you to see what it brings up in you. If it brings you up to be like good guy, bad guy, like, oh, see, that guy's a dick, then you need to go in and look at yourself and be like, why would I think this guy's a dick? Like, because, We're all just playing roles. And there is the good guy, bad guy. But the roles are constantly changing. You're not just one thing. I mean, you could find the worst person where, you know, a huge amount of people would say, like, oh, he's a bad guy. But you'd still find somebody that would think they were a saint. They would think like, oh, they were so kind. They were so gentle. There would be somebody who would come that they were a good person for. So we aren't just one thing. And what's so wild too is that can be based on like that encounter that person had with that. This person could have been used to such horrible behavior that this person just stepping it up a little was a saint. You know what I mean? It's all based on our own perspective. That's why you've got to give little relevance, or I guess relevance is the word, little relevance to what other people's beliefs or opinions are, because it's based on their perspective, and their perspectives are based on their own life experience, and not even their life experience here, based on multiple life experiences. And not only multiple life experiences, but that is also based on your awareness of your own self, your own being. So there's so many people who don't even know why they do the things they do. Why do they feel the way they feel? Why are they scared of this? Why do they think this? You know, they have no clue. This is getting in touch with yourself. This is getting to know yourself. And that's why you have to like separate yourself from what everybody else looks at you, how everybody else sees you. You got to begin to see yourself just as you see you. Because we attach ourselves so much to how others see us. I just saw something that was really interesting about that, because it was something with a kid. And it was something, but it made me think of how fast that becomes, where you are trying to please others. Like, it starts when you're so young. I can't remember this scenario though that I'm trying to think of. It was really interesting, but like, I have so many interesting things I got shown or told all day long. That one, you know, this Sky fucking video with the guy with the moon thing, and the face that comes out like by the moon, that for some odd weird reason that all these goddamn 432 hertzes, all these alpha waves to heal your body ones, if you go into the heal your body ones, they're all weird videos. I don't know, they're creepy, they're weird, I don't like them, but they always have this same looking face, just always coming in looking. It's like, that is weird. That just probably is some fucking Project Bluebeam, because that's probably some fucking CIA ran website. But so that face was out there, and the guy was out there the 22nd. I think today's the 23rd. Well, I don't know. It's so weird when you get up in the middle of the night and do this. But so I think yesterday was the 22nd, and he went out to get the moon. So it would have been the night before. So it would have been going from the 21 to the 22. And so he was going out to get the moon. And it was a full moon. And think of it. Oh, yeah, because when I was laying on the couch, that was one thing. The moon came in so big and bright through my window. I was like, what the fuck? And then I look out there, and it's like, oh, God, he's out there looking. That guy's out there looking. And I'm just like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is he so motherfucking big? Is he going to reach down and start picking people up? Maybe he's the Jesus. Maybe this is the Jesus character. He's going to come and he's just going to start picking people up, putting them in his pocket. He's that fucking big. And so he's up by the moon. God, he's so creepy. And I don't know. You know, I mean, there's definitely manipulation going on. I know Project Bluebeam and shit. Just this gives me the creeps. Even like last night I asked my guys, and I still heard it was like Project Bluebeam. Like, it's not real, but it's just so creepy. And so the face has gotten closer. So where the face was, the face is closer now. It's like a fucking goddamn Night Gallery move. That, if you ever watched that show, there was one, and I'm sure it's been in other things. It's probably been in Black Mirror stuff. But there was this one, it had Roddy McDowell, and it was a painting, and this, maybe he killed somebody, or he got killed or something. And so then in the painting, he's walking, getting closer and closer, and the guy in the house is looking at the painting, and the guy's coming closer and closer in the painting. And oh, and I just saw another weird movie. Oh my gosh, I have seen a couple of weird movies lately about that. That is weird. I forgot about that. There was another one where the guy would come out of the painting, and then he would lure people into the painting, and then he would kill them. That one was creepy. That was an old movie. There was another one too. There's a lot of concepts. You know that one time when I said like everything was done in the 80s? No, I think it was done way before that. But in my own lifetime, like there was so many firsts in the 80s. But there was like a lot of the stuff that a lot of even the movies and stuff were already remakes. A lot of the stories and stuff, the older stories, and I don't know if they just started wanting to block us away from some of the older stories because, well, there was like, they pushed so hard on morals, you know, and it was before Lifetime movies, so they would show always these tragic stories or whatever, and they were always like trying to push on morals. There was a period of time that they really pushed hard on, you know, you're a real piece of shit unless your morals are like fucking Virgin Mary or something. You don't do anything. You don't even think a bad thought. That's the devil. Anyways, that was an intense time. I'm glad we broke free from that. Well, some of us did. I think some people are still trapped there. I think so many people are so trapped by the fear, you know, that now something's going on, and the fear of being left out and Jesus not taking them and putting them in the pocket. I think they're so scared of that, is that those have been so programmed that you're going to go to hell. Jesus is your only way out. Jesus is the only way out of here, dude. There's people who believe that, and so they're scared, and that, you know, that's why it's so manipulative. But it's not the way to come to your spirituality out of fear. You know, I guess in the beginning probably you do come to it in fear, because it's like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? What is the point? There's got to be something going on here. And then you try and talk to people, and they go like, no, there's no point. You're just born and then you die. Be like, what are you talking about? You don't just die. I can't believe how long I've been having these conversations with people. It's so wild, and now it's just so wild because now it's turning where it's everybody else is starting to be like, and everybody else is starting to be like, you know, what is it? What is this all about? What are we doing here? And why are they poisoning us? Why are we getting sick? And it's wild on that TikTok how that is just so much taken off on now. All these people there's a bunch of people now on the copper magnesia. Like, we got a lot of people on this now. Like, we've created a real wave here. Like, we've got a wave of change occurring. There's a lot of people who are trying it. And, you know, I keep telling everybody, you know, I mean, I don't know that this is the perfect recipe. It's just the one that worked so far for me. I'm not going to just stop here. You know, I'm going to keep trying to figure out more. I want to figure out still even what are the minerals that are best for my blood type and my zodiac sign. Like, I'm going to figure them all out. I want to know more about what are all these minerals. And I just know that I had learned about the water thing when I was getting the well, but what was it? Because it was somebody I was talking to, and they were saying about water, and maybe they were explaining to me about the well or something. I don't know. There was somebody I had this deep conversation with about this water thing, where I learned about the rocks, or how the water, the river and the streams and all that stuff get minerals from the rocks, and that the water holds a lot of minerals. Like, you could fucking probably get a goddamn rock Go out and clean a goddamn rock. Go to the river and get a goddamn rock, clean it, and put that in your water. Oh, you know what you could fucking do? You could go get a bunch of rocks. I'm going to do this. I'm gonna get a bunch of rocks, clean them really good, put them in your freezer, freeze them. Then when you want something cold with ice, get the rocks out and put it in. Voila, you got cold too. Cold minerals right there. But, and I don't know, maybe it would freeze the minerals. I don't know. Do some with that, but keep some where you just use the rocks. I've got a lot of rocks. I should do it. Because you do, that is how water, how we used to get minerals out of water and stuff. Is it would be something with the rocks and probably the soil. It's the whole ecosystem. And that's why they disrupt it so much. That's why they interfere so much. And that's why it's causing us to get sick. And because we are natural beings, they're trying to convince us that we're artificial. Because that's what the direction they want us to go. They want us to go become like AI and not give a shit about anything. They just want us to fucking be droids. Sexless, genderless, whiny ass. Like, it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. But, you know, that is your surrender. You have to surrender to that. And I think most of the people don't realize, like, that our aging is our surrender. It is us putting up a flag. Oh, I've given up. I'm not taking care of myself anymore. And it's so wild as how it starts so early for some people. It was just some statement. I saw somebody say something yesterday. It said something, I don't know, it was like dad bod or something like that. And then it was like, oh my gosh, that starts at such a different age for, like, there can be a guy in his 20s that would start having a dad bod or whatever. Like, we name these things when people have just stopped taking care of themselves, or, and a lot of times people stop taking care of themselves because they're down. Something's gone wrong, or they're too busy. You know, it's, and then you, and then it's like it's like yourself, it's like a punishment, because then you're gonna feel bad, and then your body's gonna suffering, and it doesn't have your attention. And so there's that punishment there for you not giving it more attention, not taking better care of yourself. And so but there is, but it's so weird, is just because it's been so programmed out of us to care for ourselves. Like, just whatever, how many ever years ago it was. I think when they were settling this place, when they were stealing the land from everybody else, that they were, you were in charge of your own health. You know, if you even found a doctor in town, you know, but that's where there started being like medicine, like women who could tell you what the herbs and stuff, or there was women who would help for somebody to give birth or something. It wasn't the same, you know, it was the people who would have to figure it out, just like how I've, you know, figured this stuff out because I had to take care of my own health. And so then I can share what I have learned. And plus, the medical background, I think, helps give an understanding of some of the processes, so that, you know, I can understand some of the stuff. But I don't, it's not like I think, well, I think everybody who's got gray hair should definitely drink copper. And if you're going to drink copper, you know, supposedly, you got to have magnesium and to absorb the copper, and you got to have the vitamin D to absorb the magnesium. So you need, there's more to it, which there can even be more in this process, because that's even how our body works, is this, everything relies on everything else. It's like it pushes into the next thing. And so that it makes sense that you need this, and it needs this, and it needs this, and it needs this. So there could be more. So adding any more minerals in, but everybody's got to figure out their own, and it needs to start at a young age, because we are all being drained. Like, babies are being drained of their minerals, and they're giving them, it's like 137 of these things or something. It's like absurd. It has gone mental. They're just trying to turn us into fucking, if you can survive their world, they're fucking killing people off right and left. But see, that is a whole thing too. fuck, man. I was talking to this lady yesterday because I've got all these people asking me a lot of questions. And she has all sorts of cancers and all sorts of stuff. And then, I don't know, some of the people even just, I don't know, they've given up on themselves, but then when they see somebody else not giving up on themselves, then they're like, maybe I gave up too soon. Wait a minute. Let me try something else. You know, it remotivates them. And so, and she was telling me, you know, like how motivated I was getting her. And so she's got all these cancers. She's super sick and stuff. And so she wanted to know some different things. But I was like, man, it was making me think about, you know, if you're prone to getting a lot of these different cancers and stuff, that is, so the cancers now we know are parasites. So some sort of bugs, just like bacteria, all these things, these bugs that get inside of you. Some people have like full-blown fucking insects inside of them. But they're, so you get these, hopefully, microscopic. Once it starts getting to full size, it's like, look, dude. That's the part that creeps me out. And now my fucking nose thing. But, so the, so you get all these microscopic things in there. Then if your lymph gets stopped up, and so you get these things that clog up, and then they start growing, and they start becoming a cancer. And then, so you got to kill them. So you got to do, you know, the horse paste, something like that to kill this stuff. And, you know, murder and get them in. And then they'll leave larvae, and then you got to go in and do it again at the hatching stage. So it's like 7 to 10 days or something. You got to do the whole treatment again. And so then, you know, you do your murder, and then you get rid of all that. Then you have, and you got to clean out the debris. You got to have a carrier that cleans out the debris, which is like clove powder or charcoal. And so you carry out the debris, get rid of that. But then it's something that you need to consider is your alkalinity inside your body, your ecosystem. Like, what is your ecosystem growing? What is your ecosystem allowing to grow? And that is like in most people's gut, it is the bad bacteria is taking over. And some people are getting intestinal cancer and stuff like that. But that is where the bad bacteria is taking over. That's why people eat and stuff, and then they get bloated and gassy, and they have all those problems, is because of the bad bacteria is outnumbering the good bacteria. You got to build up the good bacteria with the probiotics or whatever, which you can do with apple cider vinegar, or you can do kombucha, like I do kombucha, something fermented. Fermentation and bitter is something that you need to have in your diet. So you got to have some bitter stuff. It's just something, but it's also the vinegar, the fermented, it gives, it adds into your microbiome, you know, it gives you healthy bacteria to fight the bad bacteria. And so you got to do that, and that starts changing your stomach. And that is stuff I learned when I was doing the colitis and stuff. But anyways, your acidic and your alkaline level inside of you, like your ecosystem, would be, when it gets out of range, why it would be growing certain things. And that's why any of the things you start doing and making these big changes in your lifestyle and getting your body right, you know, in balance, and everything's micro, macro, too, because you're getting yourself in balance, you're getting your body in balance, like it's a whole thing. And so you getting yourself in balance is what, hold on, I had a bunch of things come in my head. It's totally disrupted. Where my train of thought or chain of thought, could be either one. What was that? I don't know if I'm going to stay up. I may just stay up. It's weird because, so I went to bed, I just like conked out, and then it was like 8 o'clock. I was just like zapped awake, and I was like, oh, I forgot to finish that conversation. And so then I went and checked my phone, And then I was like, oh, that's all I'm going to do. And then I laid there and I tried to go back to sleep. And I was like, there's no fucking way. So I was like, fuck. So I'll get up. And I don't know. Maybe I thought I was sitting, look at my phone for a while. I've done a whole bunch of things. Because I kept like, okay, well, now I'll try and go back to sleep. Nope. So I don't even know if I was like 3 hours of sleep or what. I'm not sure. I feel okay. Like, I feel like I want to go back to sleep. Like, it would be a pleasure. It would be a pleasure to go back to sleep. But there's another part of me that just feels like, oh, we're up. We got thinking to do. We got things to think about. I don't know, where are we going? What are we doing? I don't know. I know one thing. I want these goddamn implants out. Swear to God. That is one thing. I want a goddamn ethical doctor. Or I want my shot at the goddamn med beds. Which I was thinking, I bet you that they would be under SpaceX. And isn't that kind of weird? How isn't SpaceX the thing that Donald had said and everybody thought was so wacky, and that was going to be the next branch of the military? And then Elon starts trying to, make it clear to everybody that there's a firmament. We can't get the fuck out of here. He's taking off even taking off in a car, like everything to try and be so absurd to get people to be like, what? And so all his stuff about space, but then all of a sudden he buys Twitter and changes the name of it to X. I was like, that's weird. There's a lot of weird stuff, like just weird. So space is his thing, and X is the name of his thing. And then space. But anyway, so I was thinking the med beds, I bet you are through them. That is when that will be like, we'll be introduced to them. Like, I bet you a lot of the military don't even know, because it was a secret space program is how I had ever heard of them. It was like Corey Good and David Wilcock is where I had ever heard of them. And that was a long ass time ago. So now I was thinking, I bet you a lot of the military people don't even know about that stuff. And then it will be the introduction to a lot of technology, I bet, will be through this more developed space. The SpaceX is really, where's Q to X? It would really be kind of like the advancement in technology that is kind of going on under our nose, really. It's kind of happening right around us. But it's like the whole world is falling apart to get you ready so that you can absorb what is to come. Because, fuck, man. There's so much shit going on in the skies, and people are just like having such a hard time with that, man. It's like so wild. And people are, I don't know, or some people really didn't think there was we were really just the only things out there. It's like all the animals around you are beings. Like, I've always thought that was weird. Even when people would say like, we're that's it. We're the only thing, and we'll just die. It's like, yeah, but all these other animals, the spider, everything has soul. But people don't understand about soul, so I don't understand about the part of you that lives on. I don't know what else to call it. But your soul, it's your power, your light source, the essence of you, the part of you that lives on. So, and I know it's real. I know that that's real because I've come out of my body. I've had so many things throughout my whole life experience. There's constant confirmation. There's a reason I say this stuff with confidence. It's because I know it. It's like I feel it in every fiber of my body. I've experienced it. I've grown with it. It's been a part of my growing, my learning, my reality. And so I was it's real. This isn't real. Our life outside of this is real. It's just so weird. It's like you're in this place and all the people think this is real and this is all there is. It's like there's so much more than this. This is like fucking a pebble in the sand. This is nothing. This is a drop in the bucket. This is a speck. It's so weird how everybody gets so like caught up in it. Even in their own accidents, their own mistakes, their own everything. It's so huge. It's so dramatic. It's like everybody needs to get perspective. I think that is what the awakening is about. It's like giving you universal perspective. It's getting you to see, like, it's kind of getting you to see what really matters and what doesn't matter. And then, you know, loss comes with that. A lot of pain. Loss teaches a lot. Loss is a huge thing to learn from. So there's a lot of loss, but this is all about the lessons and the waking up and the beautiful part is that when the people wake up and it's like they're making good decisions for themselves. Because while they're not awake, they make bad decisions for themselves. And they don't know because they don't have perspective, because they don't have anything to base it on. Because they're going, it's like, it's weird. Because it's like they're going on this, and then the more that they would open and go over here, the more that they would see, like, that's not what they want to do, because then they would see more. But people get so focused on this, they get too close. They get way too close to everything. They get way too, like, it's the only way, it's the only thing, that's it, right here, this is it. This is horrible. Like, it's just too focused. And they've shown me that so many times about your reality is your focus. So if you get too hyper-focused on punishing yourself for being an idiot, then, you know, I was living in your own misery. You got to be able to move through that. You got to be able to accept yourself, love yourself, let go of things, and really put things into perspective. Step back. That's what I'm always saying. Step back from stuff. Don't be so caught up in it. Step back and pretend like, you know, this is just like a scene in a movie. You know, you're just the player in the scene, and there's a lot of other people watching. You got the watchers watching. You got the whole universe observing. You got your grandparents. You got your ancestors. You got everybody watching. But it's all just, it's just you playing out a role. It's like, it's just you're playing out a role, but it's not just for entertainment purposes. Like, it's not just to entertain the watchers. Like, what do we do for eternity? Well, let's just make them go out and entertain us. And it's not like that. It's like once you see that then you can enjoy life. There's the struggle. That's the two timelines. There's the struggle when you're fighting against life. Then there's the jumping timelines and getting in the groove, getting in the flow. It's getting into an acceptance. It's changing gears and moving forward in a different manner, a different way. Yeah, because otherwise it is, you hold yourself back, but you are, I don't know, down on, people are so down on themselves and unhappy or whatever. It's like, and it's kind of like it's based on something that isn't real, because they're trying to do something that they can't do, and that's making them frustrated. And if they understood you can't do that, they would stop doing it and they wouldn't be frustrated. If you understood that there's destiny, you can't do anything about it. It's set in place. You're on a ride. It's got its own way that it's going. You have no control over it. The more you connect to your higher self, the more it will give you, a view of where you're going. And you've got signs all the time directing you. But you got to get more tapped into that, that side of life, that connection to that spiritual side of life, to where you are connected to. It's like trying to understand your purpose and your direction and letting it play out. But in the other timeline, it is always where the people, they feel like they are trying to go somewhere, get somewhere, do something, like it's their plan and they're trying to make it happen. And in most cases, it's not what's supposed to happen, and that it's based on some kind of a negative, it isn't a positive way of an interaction. Like, people start driving their idea of success based on what other people think success is. That's why this whole thing is like putting the brakes on for people to start questioning, what do I think success is? Do I really have to be famous and be a millionaire in order to feel like I've got success? Do I really have to have somebody who's 40 years younger than me sitting in a sports car next to me to feel successful? Do I really have to have 100 guys a day asking me out to feel like I'm attractive? Like, you guys just stop and start asking yourself, like these girls, like how much energy you're putting in to get this attention, but how much of it do you need? How much of it is an interference? Just like talking to these people all about the copper and stuff is very time consuming. And you have the people ask you the same questions over and over and over and over. And, but you do get an opportunity to give people guidance and to help people. Even when I started the Copper Cup, I was on my own. I didn't have any idea. I just saw that one girl talking about it. And so I was like, well, I'm going to get one. Drink out of it sometimes. Like, that would be good if it gives you minerals or whatever. And she was talking about being the Ayurvedic thing, And I always am into that older kind of stuff. Older ways of doing things before Western medicine. And so, but she didn't do any kind of explaining about it. And so I filled it up and I thought, oh, I'll get a really good dose of it. Let it sit overnight and fill it up right away. And so then I didn't know you're supposed to dump that out. So I got this extreme amount of copper. And it didn't make any big difference then. It didn't zap my hair. But I wasn't taking the vitamin D. And I wasn't taking the magnesium. And since it made me so sick in the beginning like that, is I was so nauseous. I was like, oh my God, I was looking it up. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? It was horrible. And it lasted days. And so then I always am telling people, you got to really be careful. And then people, it's like everybody jumps in and nobody knows what they're doing. I did the same thing. And so I keep trying to tell people look it up more and stuff too. And to monitor how much they're taking. And then plus you don't have to use the copper vessel. There's so much stuff about that. You could just get copper coils and put them in a glass jug. And then if you think you're copper, because I think that some people's water is discoloring the copper. And so even if your copper starts becoming discolored and weird and getting eaten away and eroded from the water, which then you need to be looking at your water. You need to be thinking like, fuck, I'm drinking this shit. Look what it's doing to this fucking metal. Because mine isn't doing that. Mine has it sitting in it all day, every day. And there's no green or any of that stuff. But I get that well water. So, and there's people are like, theirs is turning green and stuff. So, if you got the copper coil things, and then if you clean it, I know when you clean stainless steel, you just put like 1 part white vinegar and 10 parts water. And just let it sit in there. And it just eats all the stuff out of it. And so maybe the same with the copper, but I'm not sure. It might be something you'd have to look up. But white vinegar is pretty good on cleaning a lot of stuff. Like I've started using it as laundry detergent. It's way cheaper too. And it doesn't have all the toxins and all the hormone inhibitors and all the bullshit that they fucking put in this shit. But then you could just take the copper coil thing out and just put a new one in. Because that copper wire is pretty cheap. The copper wire they get to do for jewelry, or you can get it, people get it for their plants and stuff. And you can just get like a whole spool of this copper wire and then just make a coil. You make a little pyramid coil thing, you know. There's the whole thing too about that. Like supposedly if you go and make a little pyramid out in your yard and you go lay under that every day with the sun and stuff, you'll start getting, oh, and just think of that too, if you're all grounded. And then you make like this pyramid over you and use copper. I don't know, you could do it with copper pipes, I guess. You know what I bet too? Like we should have copper plumbing. Like I was thinking, that's what I should do, because I really need to redo all the plumbing here. Well, we'll see how everything's going to go. But the plumbing needs to be redone. And I was like, well, that would be smart to put all copper pipes in. And then I was like, oh, but then the water, that could interfere because they're fucking funked up water. You got to be on a well. And then I was thinking, I bet you that would be so expensive. I bet that's what they're trying to put people off from. They want us to just all have this fucking plastic ass pipes that are just, I don't know. The whole thing is just so much about poisonous. Everything is poisonous. And then people think like they're getting old, and it's not. You're just fucking worn down because you're beat down from this life, because it's built on lies. It's built to corrupt your soul, to leave you in the wilderness alone. And then it's destroying your health. So it's like, and then that's they call it aging. And it's the lack of nutrients, the constant poisoning, and then not dealing with your emotional pain, not dealing with what you've gone through, thinking that it'll go away by itself, and it won't. That will create disease. That's why we've got so many people who have got so much disease. You've got to release your pain, release that energy. And that is also the thinking about your ecosystem inside yourself. When you're thinking about, like, if you're prone to certain sicknesses, all these things, autoimmune, all of them, I'm sure it all has to do with our ecosystem inside of ourselves. And that's why you got to become your own social science experiment, whatever. You got to become your own experiment. You got to try a little of this. Well, do you see any difference? Like, I mean, the selenium, I don't know if I will keep taking. I may keep taking it just until we get through all of the poisoning and stuff. Like, I may just stay on a lot of stuff till we get through the poisoning. Once we get through the poisoning and we start, you know, getting ourselves back up, like our nutrients are back up, we aren't so drugged down by all the poisons and stuff like that, then I don't think it's got to be so much like, oh, take another, do another one, you know what I mean? I think we'll get to a point where our life will just, our lifestyle, it will all be in sync, you know? It will be like a being with one, being in one with nature or something. Like, it won't be so like we're forced, like we're having to put so much effort into it. But it's like we're having to put so much effort into it is because it's under attack. It's fucking under siege. It's been under siege our whole fucking lives, and we didn't even know it. Our health was being held hostage, and we were unaware, and we were being tricked. Like, so now is like the waking up and seeing, and, you know, unraveling the mystery, and start to focus on your health, and you know, be aware of what you consume, and the lack of minerals too isn't just from the water being stripped of, like, I don't know, guys. I always thought that that's where our water came from. Like, I thought we were drinking water from lakes and stuff. And then even when I was in Spokane and they talked about it had a underwater aquifer, and we were drinking from this giant well underneath the city or something. And I thought, okay, well, that sounds legit. Like, okay. But then I go over this other part of town and they're like, oh, that's the water cleaning station or whatever the fuck. Giant motherfucking place. And they said, oh, it's bad when it's wind, when you're downwind, it smells. I'm like, why does it smell? Because it's where they take the sewage and they turn it into drinking water. I was like, what the fuck? And it was around that same time as when I got E. coli from the drinking water. Right out of the goddamn faucet. And that was on the news too. Then they told everybody, don't drink the water, everybody. It's giving you E. coli. It's been contaminated. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, things were so much safer when we were under our own control. Like, you knew what you were eating. You knew what you were drinking. There wasn't all this interference and all this bullshit. It's why they had to get us under their thumb. Because then they could interfere and do all this nonsense. All this bullshit all the fucking time. So aggravating. But I saw a bunch of videos too where people up in the sky, there's like cloaking going on. There's all sorts of things going on in the sky. And if that one thing is Project Bluebeam, it seems like they would be doing a lot of other things. Like, I don't know. I don't know how this is all going to play out. You know, if they're going to, there's so many things going. It's like everything is going. Like, like anything could happen. And there was another giant solar flare that just went, that was way bigger than the last. And and you have some people saying that that's what knocked out all the phone service and all this stuff. And so that is a huge topic that all these people are talking about. And so you have a huge group of people that say it's from all the sun flares. And then you have other people showing this other stuff, saying that that's not what it's from. And then you have a whole group of people saying this is the government. You have a whole group of people, this is China, this is all these different things. There's people saying, like, they're going to do this, and it's like all in preparation. So we'll keep losing it little by little by little by little, and then all of a sudden there won't be any or something. So I don't know. And to me, even when it goes down, whatever's going to happen, like if it's going to be this EMF or EMP or whatever it's called, and if they're going to do something like this electromagnetic pulse thing, and it's going to knock out all the power and the internet and everything, and that's what's super scary. Just remember, think about, how beneficial quarantine was, how that really woke so many people up. So it's going to be that stuck in your house, not knowing what's going on, and not having any kind of way to talk to people and stuff. That would be, it will create the come to Jesus moment. It will create that intensity. So it will be a huge part of awakening. And so you can totally see the benefit of that going down that way. But don't forget, if it does, that it will be, we're not going back on that system. So that system doesn't matter if it crashes. Even when they're saying, like, all these people are getting these satellite phones and stuff, and the satellite just crashed the other day, and then they're saying that's why it went out. Like, there's all these different side tones, whatever, that they keep saying. But all I know is that when the shit goes down, and if it is that in all of our internet, all of our phone, all of our everything, your phone won't work, your car won't work, nothing's gonna work, apparently. And I don't even know if you could turn on your stove. Like, I don't think so, because there's not going to be electricity. There's not going to be anything. So you're not going to be able to cook. You won't be able to do anything. And it's going to cause a freak out, just like on Twilight Zone, where there's people that are just ready. And they're so like, oh man, you can just see it. So much like Twilight Zone, but that's their own thing. Their own fears will create their own destiny. So they have to play out their own stuff. So there definitely will be chaos. So in the days that there was no power, there would be definite chaos. It would be that it would come back on. But then we would come on to the quantum one. So it would be, and that will be way better. So just remember, whatever goes down, that is not, because there's all these people that are sure. Whatever goes down, that's it. That's it. That's our lives now. No, Whatever goes down is going to be like this abrupt turn the other direction. It's just like, I don't know if it's going to be like a turn like 5 minutes or if it's going to be like a couple days, because a couple days makes more sense, because it gives people time to really stop what they're doing, sit down, stress the fuck out over what's important, and it's a real snap your finger and get someone's attention. So it makes sense, the grid would all go down, but because we don't need it anymore. It's part of the whole fucking old shit. So it's not something that we need to worry about. So when everybody else is stressing about it, just like let it go. It's like, okay, well, yeah, it's going to go down one way or another. The internet, all these different things, but it will be all picked back up with free energy, the quantum system. And supposedly we're all going to get new phones and stuff, and it's not going to be all this radiation and all these G's and all the bullshit. So things are going to get so much better, just like our ways of travel, our means of travel, our abilities, like where they try and control us and not let us move, like demanding papers and all their licenses and taxes. All that stuff is going. That stuff's all going. The government is fucking going. And that's going to probably be like a kind of a tedious, like slow thing that you can see. Like people are so dependent on it. Like it's wild. Like how people are about it. So that's got to be pulled away. And maybe it's just like they've got to just watch how the corruption goes. At the same time, communities building up and other people stepping into leadership roles in communities, and because that's what it's going to go to, is it's going to be so much more community drawn. It's not going to be like, people in California are making rules for people in Mississippi. It's going to be, no, you would be wherever you are. If you live in Bear Lake, Bear Lake is your rules. Like you guys have your own place. And if people aren't happy with where they are, like if their community does not support them or does not give them a place where they feel comfortable, then go find another one. There's going to be lots. There's going to be tons of communities. There's going to be all sorts of communities. There's going to be all sorts of different vibes, different styles. And, I don't want to be around people who are really divisive. Like, there's people who are just waiting for this shit to go down, who are just waiting to divide, just waiting to take their resources and keep them to themselves. It's like, well, I share mine. I'm not worried. It's like, fuck, I'm not worried. I don't think, oh, this is it. This is all we'll have forever. There's people who have a whole fucking basement loaded full of food and stuff, and they think they're going to need all that. Whatever's going to go down is going to be temporary. And then we'll have to start, changing the way we're doing things in a dramatic way. But there's also going to be this huge jolt forward where we're going to have a lot of things that are going to be being made and done by AI. It's kind of like, why wasn't AI doing it all the time? Why were we in there doing these mindless tasks that robots could do? And we could be out living our lives and learning and growing and evolving with each other. So that's the step. That's our quantum step forward, is to design your own time, for it to be your time, and not to be doing some mindless task for minimal amount of money just to keep you trapped into taxes, and it's trapped into their hamster wheel. So you're chasing something. There's something they're offering and you're chasing it. So it's jumping off of that and start, maybe it's going to be boring. Maybe it's going to be not a lot to do. Maybe you're not going to have as much money. Maybe you're, maybe you figure out things to do that you don't need as much money. Maybe that's the change in your lifestyle. Maybe you were thinking that you needed all this money to go out and have fun when you didn't really need all that. So it's this whole evolution or perspective change for each individual to look at things and see things bigger, more clearly, You know, and we can't say for one another, we can't say, oh, this is what you got to do. Like, it's this, this, and this. There's these things, and that's what you got to do. Because everybody's got to do their own thing. And no, there's no way to know. And it's too versatile. There's no way to know what every single person needs to do. Everybody's just got connect with themselves. Connect inside themselves to get direction and to understand, you know, what it is they need to do. And they could have, you know, a lot of dark entities, a lot of dark attachments, a lot of skeletons in the closet that they've got to work through in order to get to a place where they really understand their communication, understand how they're doing. Because until you get through your healing, that's going to be your focus. They're going to always pull you back to that. And you're like, well, what am I supposed to do? What's my purpose? Where am I supposed to? They're going to always pull you back. If you got a healing to do, they're going to pull you back into your healing and get you to focus on the releasing. So you can release whatever it is that you're holding on to that you was to have lost track of. Oh, that was it. Something about my daughter was saying something. I don't know. It's still something. I keep seeing this little kid. I don't know. I think I'm merging two things. But it's the same thing. It's just like how things get told to us when we're young, and it has such an impact. It has such a more significant impact than people realize. I know I'm going to remember this as soon as I finish, because I can kind of see it. But maybe I'll remember it tomorrow. But I don't know. There's so many stories. Like, there's so many stories that I remember after I finish, and then I'm like, oh, I was going to talk about. But whatever the focus is kind of out of my hands. It's like whatever's coming into my head, I can't do much more about that. It's like, so, anyways, all I can say is just remember to love yourself. Remember to love everybody else, and to have a loving day. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.